Alrighty then. One moment while here we go. Recording audio. We're doing this properly, I think. Hopefully, we'll see. Just in case we want to repurpose this footage. Feels like there's always something new to test here. Hey, what's up, everybody? So I got a bit of a pocket of window here. Wow, English. A bit of a pocket of time here to do a bit of streaming here. So this will be about an hour's worth, but I think we can get done what we need to get done within that time frame. Wow. I need coffee or something. Jesus. Sparkling water will have to do because we're trying to watch our figure. Anyway, so yeah, Bison just dropped earlier this week. What's today? Friday? Thursday? I don't know what day it is. He came out a couple days ago, and he looks really strong. He looks really cool, for sure. He's aesthetically always been kind of one of my favorite characters. This particular Bison, like his costume too, is freaking awesome. I don't really care for his costume one. I don't like Hobo Bison. I don't know what's the big thing about homeless looking characters in this particular Street Fighter, but they're all about that. But I digress. Yes. Bison, so not fair warning, I guess. There's nothing to warn you about, but I took some time, like maybe 10 minutes or so last night, just to kind of, get the mental juices flowing, try to figure out what this dude even kind of did, so we weren't going to completely blind, because we'd be here a while. Because I try to be really meticulous about figuring this stuff out, but just within that 10 or so minutes, he seems like he's going to be a problem for sure. I'm already hearing people in my friend group and on, the Twitterverse. No, it's still Twitter, damn it. I'm not calling it X. Elon Musk can go suck a bag of what. But yeah, he is cool. I like the way he looks. I like the way he moves. He feels I was wondering how they're going to make, his walk look cool. I like the little shuffle, especially the back walk. Very cool. Very good. All of his moves, he feels like a kind of an amalgamation of like Street Fighter 4 Bison and Street Fighter 5 Bison. He's got all the stalwarts are there. Stand medium kick, like the button is there. Stand heavy kick is great. The one he got from 5 is also there, and it's plus. So you can still kind of use it the same way. Bison has good buttons. He's got I think the stand jab is 5 frames, crouch is 4. That's whatever. This looks like it's probably going to be a nice kind of harassy button, so they had to keep it in check somehow. They are both -2 on block, which is fine, I suppose. Let's see. Stand, he's got like his stand light kick from Street Fighter 5, but it's 1 frame slower. It used to be like that. I think that was a 3-frame button for him. This game has no 3-frame buttons, so this is pretty good. It's pretty fast. He's got 2 4 frames, that one and this one. Crouching is 5 frames. It is chainable, so you can still get a couple of those. It's got some pretty solid pushback though, so you can't just, blah, 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 I think the only normal he has, the only normal he has where he can do 3 of them in a row. Let me start my music up here. I knew something didn't sound right. Is his standing jab. I just got my little gaming playlist going here, so hopefully this is at a decent, respectable volume for you, the viewer. But yeah, it looks like his stand jab is the only light attack he has where he can get 3 in a row, point blank range. Everything else seems to only be 2. That's 2. That's 2, and it's not really chainable. This is more like a one-time thing. Yeah, you can't really chain that. Or if it's a slow chain, if anything. It feels more like a link, though. Like normally chains, you can just kind of hammer on the thing and it'll come out. Anyway. Yeah, when you start a new character, you kind of want to just check everything out. Give it kick the tires, so to speak. His medium attacks seem pretty good. This move it's a little slow. It's 8 frames. That's kind of slow for a medium attack, but he also has a 6-framer, which is his crouch medium punch, which is like another one of his kind of iconic screen control buttons. This is good for catching people walking in on you because his crouch medium kick is slow. Honestly, it feels about on par. Like, I know Akuma's is 8 frames too. I think Ryu's and maybe Ken's are all like 8 frames-ish, somewhere in there. Stand medium kick, 10 frames. Good space control button. Good button. I love buttons like this. Look at how far away that hits. You can like hit with like the very tip of his boot, which is, oh, that's crispy. I love that. That's going to be so hard to deal with because look at how far away he is. It feels like he's like, when he hits with this thing, it pushes him out to half screen, which is gross. You can't do anything against that. It's just, you got to deal. Yeah, that's gross. Let's see here. What else? We did that. Standing and crouching medium punch, standing and crouching medium kick. We'll talk more about them later, like what's cancelable and what isn't. We just want to see them all. Stand Fierce is kind of an interesting button because it hits really far away. It's slow though. It's 19 frames, but it's plus, and it's more plus the further away you can get it to hit. So if you can hit it max range, it's like +3. That's really stinking good to be able to harass from this far away. Now, if you whiff this thing, it looks like you're probably going to be in for a world of hurt because you can't cancel it into anything except, I think, supers, which is kind of a big deal because you can't drive rush cancel it either. But yeah, you can super cancel it, for instance. And they also don't mention this. This is why it's important when you start up a new character or a new character drops and you're trying to figure out what they can do. Test everything, leave nothing to chance, because the game doesn't tell you anything about that button because it's not in the command list because it's just a normal attack, right? So you wouldn't really know that there's even moves that are only cancelable into supers unless you actually go and try to, see what works. So super important. This button feels like it's going to be a button that Bison gets to use when the opponent is already kind of afraid to do stuff. Because, and I'll test this in a minute, it looks like it might be pretty easy to drive impact, but we'll see. But the fact that it's plus is huge. Like point blank range even. It's at least +1. That's good. So he's got that, and he's got that. That's how Bison kind of was in Street Fighter V. His walk speed wasn't the best. It was even slower than this, but he had a real good dash, which he still has here. It's fast, relatively speaking. Yeah, Bison's cool. He's also got his, he's got his regular slide that's down forward heavy kick now instead of just his crouching heavy kick. But he's got another sweep. He's got the privilege sweep, the white girl sweep. So he's in good company with Cardine and company. I like that they gave him this because one of my biggest gripes with the character was that, like, if you ever just wanted to sweep somebody in place, you had to commit to this giant button, which is still giant, and it's still minus no matter what you do. It's like it's punishable even from like the tippity tip range, but from far enough out, you can kind of like do empty slide stuff. You can get people afraid of doing stuff from back here, and then whoop. Slide in them DMs. And his drive rush is crazy looking. I don't think it's as fast as DJ's, but it's close. Bison's all about approaching you threateningly from like anywhere on the screen. And as we get into his special moves, especially like Devil's Reverse and stuff, you'll see what I mean. But he's got just insanely good buttons. Like, I want you to look at the frame data on all of these, right? So, as you know, in order for something to be punishable, it's got to be -4 or higher. And like by higher, I mean like -5, -6, like literally higher numbers. But negative, in the negative space. So, all of his buttons, all of them except for like maybe 1 or 2, all safe. Safe, -2. Safe, -2. Safe, -1. Safe, -2. Safe, neutral. Safe, -1. Safe, -3. Say all not safe, but cancelable, which is important because you can make stuff even nastier by canceling buttons. Like normally, like, oh, it's -6, right? I can swing at that. I mean, you can, but I'll demonstrate later why you probably should not. Just treat that button like it's safe in most cases, unless, you know, a Bison is getting really, really, really egregious and repetitive. But even then at that point, if they're canceling into something, you're dealing with whatever they're canceling into, not the button itself. You treat that like it's safe, essentially. That is safe. It's slow, though, so there might be other ways to counteract that. This is his anti-air, crouch fierce. 10 frame startup, that's pretty standard fare for Bison because he is so mobile, mobile, depending upon which part of the country you live in. He usually has pretty kind of like anti-airs, but he's got really great air-to-air moves. Look at his jump. He gets up there. But yeah, this is his anti-air of choice. Not bad. It hits right above his head, and it's reasonably fast if you're looking for the right stuff. But he's also got good options to kind of just tag you in the air to keep. He just wants to. When you're Bison, you're not trying to like get big damage off of you hitting them while they're in the air like that necessarily off of like an anti-air. You're just doing it to stop them from doing what they want to do so you can get right back to doing what you want to do. So it doesn't have to be great. It just has to be serviceable. That's a serviceable button for sure. And also, he's got other stuff he can use from further out like this. So if trying to snipe bad jumps, people jumping in, you can snipe that sort of stuff with stand heavy kick. Let's see if we can... Actually, let's see. If I go to anti-air practice, yeah, we'll apply those settings. We just want Akuma to jump at us a little bit, or Ryu rather. Bow! Look at that. Bow! Look at that. Bow! So if you got the read on the jump, you can. Bow! You want to give it time to start up. So like the moment you see them leave the ground and head at you, see that was a little too soon. Bow. This one has 6 active frames though, so you can start it pretty early and still hit with the later frames of the move. The heavy kick requires a little bit more finesse, but it's still really good as you saw. Bow. A little early. But that's always been kind of like the finesse of the character, right? Wow. But yeah, for instance, you can do that sort of stuff. Let's see here. Does it keep those settings on? If I back off of this, it does. All right, give me 1 second. Let's go back to combo practice. Also, real quick, slight aside, for those of you who are kind of like, you know, you don't spend a lot of time in the training mode, this simple training settings here, these settings will kind of just like give you templates for things that you might want to practice. For instance, combo practice is just like kind of how training mode normally is. It's just a dummy. They're there to hit, and there's a few things that you can kind of go on. You can really go in and change whatever you want once you set these settings. All it does is take some of the bigger, like more global training settings and just sets them a specific way. Like in this one, if you go into anti-air practice, it just turns on the recording to set Ryu to jump. But if you actually go in and go to recording settings, you'll notice there's a lot of options here. So Ryu's set to do a couple things, like he's set to like neutral jump and then jump forward. I think there's something else. There's 3 other options here that you can turn on. So you can kind of make it as tricky or as simplistic as you want. Like if you just want to jump forward, you can turn off every other option. If you want to do more, like dash up or do other things, like just kind of shimmy back and forth so that the jumps are more unpredictable, you can turn these options on and even record more yourself. It's kind of just a way for people to kind of get the practice they need without feeling overwhelmed by having to set all this stuff up themselves. So keep that in mind as you are trying to figure out matchups and characters and practice and stuff like that. Your combo practice is basically just your standard stuff. offensive pressure, and it kind of tells you on the tooltip down at the bottom there, like offensive pressure practice breaking through your opponent's guard to deal damage. So it kind of shows you how to like mix up between throws and strikes. Throw escape, the polar opposite. It teaches you how to break throws, teaches you the timing for that sort of stuff. CPU battle is pretty self-explanatory. Whiff punish practice, also pretty self-explanatory. Your opponent's going to do stuff in whiff buttons, and it's your job to try to hit the whiff buttons with what you can, you know. Punish practice, kind of the same thing, except now they're whipping bigger stuff that you have to like learn to punish as hard as you can. And then my favorite part of all this is the frame meter. Everybody, you know, a lot of newer players and, you know, people who are kind of like just playing for the lulz might not really care so much about this stuff, but I love that they have this in the game. You don't have to use another app or go outside of the game to like say YouTube to learn this stuff. The game has all of this information right there, and they tell you what all of this stuff means. So you can figure out a lot on your own if you take the time to understand what this box is telling you right now. You know, very, very, very strong tool. So right now we're gonna set. Actually, here's what we're gonna do. I think if you go back to simple settings, we'll set him to combo practice. That way he just kind of sits still. Cool. All right, back to what we were doing. Let me see here. That was a lot of words. Let me get a sip of beverage here. All right. So, yeah, Bison's got some really strong, just kind of basic tools. They are not to be neglected. They are part of what makes him so strong. Another wonderful, wonderful thing about this character that they've made is that before, Bison used to be pure charge. All of his moves, all of his special moves required charge, either down charge or back charge. So now he's only got a couple of those. And I'll show you what they are. We'll go over his move list. So he's got the classic. He's got, like, he didn't have Psycho Crusher in Street Fighter V until you had, well, not V-Shift. V-Trigger. Yeah, so you activated V-Trigger 2, and then I gave him Psycho Crusher. So you could only do it a couple times. Now, it's just a move, baby. Bison's back. If you want Psycho Crushers, you got them all. You got all you want. And it blows up projectiles, which is awesome. Also, let me see here. Bison also has Head Stomp, but you'll notice it doesn't track like it used to. You can send him different directions. It's kind of like how Akuma's Demon Flip setup is. So you hold down, you charge down and hit up and kick, and you get, I forget what they call this move, but it's basically just, you know, the jump. Let's see. Let's be proper here. What is this called? This is called Shadow's Rise, or Shadow Rise. Bam. So off this, you kick again, he will stomp. Wherever he is in the air, he's coming straight down, which is sick. Now you can like bait. You can almost go like straight up in the air and just come right back down. So sick. You know, and you can stop right in front of him. If you might not want to do that, but if you make contact, it treats it just like old school head stomp, and you get the hell attack follow up afterwards too. Now if you jump and hit punch, if you not Shadow Rise and hit punch, you get Devil's Reverse. Devil's Reverse is real good because it's basically just one version of Stomp and one version of Devil's Reverse, but all the complexity, like the mix, comes with which version of the Shadow Rise you use. But here's the thing. Bison's Devil's Reverse can go pretty much full damn screen. So like I'm gonna back all the way up here, right? I want you to see how far, like I'm just gonna like do light kick Shadow Rise. So he goes really, just jumps basically straight up in the air. I'm gonna do Devil's Reverse and I'm gonna hold forward. And I want you to watch how far he goes. I'm right next to Ryu, man. I can hit him with stuff. So if you are anywhere forward of like I'm gonna just walk up a half step. Let's see if I can hit him now. There you go. I literally walked up like a pixel. I walked up like that. And I was able to hit him. So literally the only place you will not hit him, now obviously he's coming at you from a mile away. You can somebody can probably tag you. Because you can steer him in the air. You know, you can kind of steer him. You can, in fact, you can. Wow, that's once you're about halfway down, you're kind of committed to wherever you are. But you can bait. You can kind of go backwards almost. That's crazy. Yeah, that's really, 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 really good. Because you can even fake like you're gonna go big jump. You can kind of commit to the heavy. So you know you can always go that far if you want. But if you don't want, you can do all kinds of gnarly fake out stuff. One thing that he can do that Akuma cannot, off of his regular shadow. Give me 1 second here, y'all. Look, YouTube. You're gonna quit. Thank you. God, always mess with my tunes, man. You can do EX versions or OD versions. God, that's gonna take me forever to like get that in my vernacular. You can do OD versions of these moves off of the regular versions of Shadow Rise. So I can do regular Shadow Rise and hit 2 punches and get EX or OD Devil Reverse. Same thing with Stomp. Boom. And you get OD Stomp, which is awesome. Awesome. But also, if you do OD Shadow Rise, first of all, notice he tracks. So watch, I'm going to do it from back here. He's coming. He's coming to you, baby. Say just like Akuma, he's bringing the party to you. And Stomp works. If you are close, let's move a mid-screen so we can double check this. I'm gonna do it from point blank range. We're gonna do OD. Notice he doesn't cross up. If you want to cross up, you can, but you can do heavy or you can do medium. And you can do really gnarly stuff like that. Notice Bison turns to face you. So you always get the schmicks. One thing you cannot do that you used to kind of be able to do, it's a little trickier to do here because Bison will change sides and whatnot. Give me 1 second, y'all. Turn off Discord. I hate that stupid blip, blip, stupid noise. Anyway, yeah, you can jump and then you used to be able to like do this and kind of like go over their heads like really far and kind of come back. And because he changes directions, it doesn't work so well in this game from what I saw. It's still, the hitbox is pretty big. It looks like everything from his head all the way out to the tip of his arm is an active hitbox. But if you get past that, if you get to the other shoulder, really? Hold on. Whatever, I'm not gonna worry about it. I forgot Discord opens on all of my computers. Anyway, yeah, but DR is really good. And if you'll notice here, I'll set Ryu to block here so you can see this frame advantage because it's dumb. Where are we at here? There we go. Block all. There we go. So we're just going to block these moves real quick. So we're going to block DR. Okay, there it is. You see how he kind of like freaked out and switched sides? Because I crossed the plane of cross up or whatever they call it. But he's +4. He's plus off of that. We're going to do it from back here. +5. Let's see if we can. +7. This dude's gross in like the best way possible. He's gross. He's going to be a menace. He can just kind of be where he wants to be. That's where the finesse is. He's not as fast as he used to be on the ground, but he doesn't have to be, you know? Because he's even trickier in the air than he usually is. And he was always pretty gnarly to fight because of stuff like that. Now, what I'm not seeing here, according to the frame bar, I'm not seeing any invincibility frames on Devil's Reverse. I could be mistaken, but I don't see anything there. So that might be kind of one of the trade-offs. He's just more vulnerable because he can just be more elusive. They took away some of his just inherent bullshit where he could like just, you know, in Street Fighter V, you could do OD. See, now I finally get it right. I'm talking about the wrong game. You could do EX, Devil Reverse, and it was just, he'd spin in the air like a freaking washing machine, and he just couldn't hit him for like 40 some odd second frames. It was dumb. It was great if you played him. Yeah, but it looks like they took that away. But that's okay, because if you notice, That was that OD stomp. Still plus, baby. Still plus. And if you do regular one, you can just move away. You don't have to be there. You can follow up with hell attack if you want. And if you land it right, you're still plus. He's just plus frames a character. So unless your anti-airs are like just super on point, you're probably going to have a bad time. But that's the scary part, because even if you are good at anti-airs, it's still going to be a bad time if you're fighting a Bison who is really nasty and tricky at mixing up what he does in the air. You know? By the way, that's just the air. One thing, a huge change that they made to him is his knee press is a motion now. He doesn't have to charge that. He can just be scooting around back and forth, knee press. And if you notice, look at the pushback. First of all, notice the number. So that was medium knee press. -5. Punishable. Numerically punishable. You're not reaching that with anything that's 5 frames or faster. Not at all. But he can reach you. Do not push after this move. You will die. Do not push after this move. Let him push himself out to a distance, and then like you do something that is not that. Now, if you notice, Bison's like, ha-ha, 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 doing like the same crap over and over again. Then maybe like DP or do something like OD Fireball or OD Drive Impact, something like that. If they're really getting egregious, they're really feeling themselves, I'm just going to pressure this dude, I'm going to beat up his drive gauge, then sure. But if you're fighting somebody who's like, got a couple of brain cells firing, just err on the side of caution and just block. Block or parry. Because it's still going to take him a second to walk up and try to throw you out of something like that, right? So the threat is there, but unless he dashes up, which is still a commitment, because if you don't, now you're getting into kind of like the layers of methodology here where it's like, all right, I know that he knows, and so on and so forth. We don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole yet because we're still talking about the basics. But just keep in mind, even his, light kick, scissors is -5. Let's get point blank. Light kick is -5. Okay, that's medium is -5 too. Heavy is -4. So if nothing else, numerically you can jab him. But look at that. That was point blank range. We're gonna set Ryu to jab here. That's what we're gonna do. Let's see, reversal settings. We're gonna set him to block, reversal, jab, light punch. And we're gonna see if the dummy can punish you, then that means you can punish him from that same exact perspective. So let's see, we're gonna start with light kick. Okay, so point blank range, you're getting tagged. I'm holding back. He's getting tagged. Let's see. Point blank range, right? So that's good, because that would be so degenerate if you couldn't. All right, we're gonna take a step back. We're gonna see about where Bison needs to stand in order to get that to whiff. So we're going to take a half step back. All right, still punishable. We're just going to do light. We're going to figure out each strength at a time here, because I would imagine once you know one, you probably know most of them. And light will probably, I'd imagine, be the easiest version to space. So let's see here. Let's back up a little further. Now we're about a character space away. I'm going to jump. All right, there you go. So if he's here or any further, you're not punishing that. So literally, unless he flubs a combo and does some real sideways, like stupid kind of brainless scissors from here or closer, then you can punish. But all you're getting is a jab, dog. Well, okay, so for a character like Ryu, which you'll probably want to use, actually, it's not jab. What you probably want to use is light kick, because that goes a fair bit further. So let's see. Let's test this. So from the same distance, about a character's length away, let's see if he can tag me with stand light kick. He can. There you go. Okay, so what have we learned? You have to space this move real clean. It's gnarly, but from where you would normally want to be hitting with this, like just the edge, just the tip, you're not going to be punished. Any closer, though, and, you know, Bison's got to be a little more careful. Let's see if I can... Well, it's a punish counter, so there's nothing I can do about that. You're getting tagged. All right. And I think the OD version is even more minus. And it always moves him closer. So I think even if you hit with this from, like, the max range, I think, let's try from back here. He always does the knee afterwards. That's guaranteed. So he's always going to, like, put himself point blank range. And he's always, like, was a -6, I think that said. No, that's wrong. I think that's off of that move. Turn that off and let's see what the numbers are. -15. If you see him flashing and he's doing knee press, if he's like, I'm going to knee press from back here, you let him do that to you because he's coming and he's going to be -15. And so you hit him as hard as you possibly can. But any of these other ones, beware, because they're not that hard to space. Yeah, you don't want to be pushing questionable buttons in front of this dude because he's got gnarly stuff that he can use to just kind of eat up the space and really make it a bad time for you. He'll chip away at you until he gets you afraid to push buttons, and then he's going to start this nonsense where he's hitting you with this boy, you know, just to kind of keep a frame advantage. One thing we didn't go over yet was target chains. He's got some interesting ones, and they're safe. Notice. So this button here, I was wondering as I was checking them out last night, I'm like, man, this button's kind of slow, brother. Right? 8 frames for a medium punch? Why would they do that? What's so great about this button? It's got solid range, but that seemed a bit slow. But then, as I was going through his move list, it's got follow-ups. It's got 2 follow-ups to be exact. So it's got an overhead follow-up, medium punch into forward heavy punch, -3, -3 on block. You can't punish that. And then he's also got medium punch into down heavy kick. Also -3. He's got a high-low mix-up off of medium punch. So thank goodness it's as slow as it is. You know, they gives it a little bit of risk. He can't just fire this like he can this button. But this button's cancelable, right? So let's do a little more science here. We're trying to see, like, if Bison's going to be using this move a lot, let's see how easy is it for him to space this into scissors. Let's start point blank range. Okay, well, first of all, that kind of goes back to a point I was talking about earlier. It's a frame trap. You don't necessarily want to press after that because if you punish it, if you attempt to punish it, even with the fast button, you're swinging into a canceled attack. You know, I think I was talking about this move, but the idea is the same. Now it's a counter hit, and he's +5 in your face. You don't want that. It's a bad time. And it's ironic I'm talking about bad times as Bison's, you know, one of his best themes comes on. Yeah, this character's nuts. He's bonkers, and he's going to chew up people who cannot block, who cannot just simply sit there and block for a minute. He's going to make you block, period. Good Bisons are going to force you to block, and they're going to force you to deal with, like, just a really nasty air approach that's tricky. And he's going to be elusive. He's going to be annoying as hell. And he's going to just make you hurt for being impatient. Now, so we've talked about Shadow Rise and Head Stomp and Devil's Reverse. Those are gnarly, to be fair. He's got a new special move too, though, right? Bison's got, I think they call it a double hit combo or some sort of combo. Let's see what this says. It is called Back Fist Combo. Back Fist Combo is kind of cool. It is very punishable though. So you don't want to do this at all unless you are guaranteed to hit with it because it's going to be a bad time for you. It's like whipping OD knee press. It's super minus. Give me 1 second here. Let's see. We'll set the dummy to turn that off for a second so we can see the numbers. So it's not particularly fast, but that doesn't matter because you're comboing into this move like most of the time. But you'll notice it's -14 on block. Hit this man. If you see them with this, you bust his ass. Yeah, man, it's at least -14. Jack him up. Don't let him get away with this. Bisons are just throwing this out. Crack him in the face. Yeah, with your hardest punish. This move, however, well, first of all, it's also a motion. It's not a charge, which is great. And here's why. We'll set Ryu to not block here. This move is absolutely Bison's new party starter. So one thing that he got in Street Fighter V was his V Trigger 2 gave him, they gave him a command grab. And this command grab, you like grab your head and like charge you full of psycho power. And you basically became like a bomb. Well, now we've just got that as a regular move, which is this. Right? So you notice Ryu don't look so good. He's there's a lot of purple stuff going on. And that move kind of interacts, kind of like Aki, her poison. If you get your opponent poisoned in certain moves, their properties change. In this particular, in Bison's case, it's kind of the same thing. So you can do that. Now, if I do this move again, it pops him up in the air, right? Also, let's check out the different moves. Let's see what Psycho Crusher, how Psycho Crusher changes if you hit with it after this. So we got that. Psycho Crusher becomes kind of like OD Psycho Crusher. Speaking of which, let's try OD Psycho Crusher and see what that does after this. And you can combo off of that. I don't know how to combo off of that yet, but you absolutely can. You can probably drive rush up, or if nothing else, I know there's all kinds of heads. Let's see if we can come up with something. I want to see if I can hit with super, if nothing else. Well, I should probably actually do the thing right, huh? All right, got it. Let's see here. If nothing else. And he's back in it. He's back in the blender. Okay, yeah, so this character is going to be gnarly. As long as you keep, as a Bison player, if you're landing this, you're making life hell for your opponent. Yeah, because you can, their regular hits don't affect it. It looks like your special moves. Okay, no, only some of them consume it. I guess Psycho Crusher doesn't even consume it. Let's see. Let's do some science here. Okay, it's still there. Okay, so Psycho Crusher moves that, it looks like moves that have Psycho energy will consume it. Okay, it spins. It's on him. Okay, it spins it. So it looks like back fist combo into itself. Oh, that's sick. A ground bounce? Let's go. All right. Let me see here. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, he's sick. This dude's awesome. Okay. All right. So, yeah, this is, you want to hit this move as often as possible, and they want you to hit as often as possible, too. Because it combos off of light moves. So you can party started, do what you're going to do. Because my understanding is that too, it's not just on hit, I think on block too. It makes certain moves even safer. So let's how can I do this? Block after first hit, maybe? Let's see. Oops, no. No block. Block all. Block counts. Let's try this. Block after first hit. I want him to get hit by this, so he's powered up. Okay, he's being hit. Or here. How can I set this up? Block count maybe. No, I think this will make it so that he will only block after 2 attacks. I want him to block immediately upon wake up. Here, let's do this. Let's see here. Let's see if I can. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. Record. There we go. To your practice, I just want him to record trigger on input. That way, it'll at the moment you move. I'm going to just hold down back. That way, he just does that. I'm trying something here. I want to see if on block, and I'm probably completely overlooking a simpler way to do this, but hey, bear with me. Let's see here. Down back. Cool. That's all I wanted. So now replay. Actually, hang on. Can I just set him on reversal settings to block after wake up? Let's see. Oh, okay. Those are also listed here too. Good. I just learned that today. Common actions, do nothing. Drive impact, drive parry, normal throw. Is blocking an option? Let's set him to do nothing. And we'll set the opponent to... turn that on first. We'll set the dummy to block all. Or rather, block count. So hopefully... You know what? I'm not going to overcomplicate this. Here's what we're going to do. I'm trying to think how can I set this up. I know what I can do. We'll set him to jab on wake up. We'll set on wake up reversal. We'll set him to just do like a heavy punch or something like that. I just want to catch a move with the back fist combo. And that way, he'll get hit, but he wakes up and will do nothing. Or we'll block afterwards. There we go. I think this should work. Let's try this. Just throw him. Yes, there it is. Okay, that worked. Perfect. 5. He's +5 because he detonates the charge, and the Psycho Crusher is now safe. Now, we're going to turn this off real quick. Psycho Crusher is horrifically minus, no matter where you do it from. -15. Let's do it from further. 9 frames. Okay. 7 frames. I think 6 or 7 frames is about as like advantage you can make this move. And by that I mean not at all. That's a medium punish, which is going to hurt really bad. Okay, 5. Let's see. 7. All right. 6. Can we make it better? Can we get 4? Can we? 6. I'm doing this so you don't have to. Let's see here. I love this kind of shit, though. All right. 5. I hadn't seen 5 all last night, so I got to 6. I think 5 is probably about as good as you're going to get, because you reach a point where it's like it's so hard to space to get, if you could get -4, unless there's a literally like a frame kill or like a specific setup that you can do to set up the spacing for that, it's almost not worth trying to get, because if you tag them, you're super minus, or you just stop in front of them when you may not have wanted to. Yeah. Anyway, so it looks like -5 is about the best you can get, which is still good. That at least makes it a light punish if you're going to try to punish it with anything. But he's point blank, and you're pretty much guaranteed to get that punish. So there's that. Now, let's see here. 1 second. There we go. All right. Minimize that. So yeah, medium punch, kind of the same deal, except it goes a lot further. So you can make Psycho Crusher. No, I mean you can't. You can make it minus. You can make it less minus, but I don't think you'll ever be able to make it minus enough to where you won't get punished by something, unless you use OD. OD is -3, and I think it's -3 no matter where you are, because he goes pretty much full screen. Okay, -2. So from like max range, -2, not punishable, but you got to spend some resources for that, right? You can't do that for free. Let's see. Let's try heavy. -6, and that's full screen. That is as far away as you can get. Catch them hands, my guy. Yeah, that's a bad time for Bison. So you don't want to be throwing those out trying to be safe, but you don't have to because you got this move. This is the move you want to harass with. You want to do just like this. You want to be hitting people in their ankles like that. And then they get frustrated and they stick a button out or a drive impact. And you're like, stupid, you know? Or worse, you set some stuff up like that. If they're swinging into that stuff, you tag their response with that. And now you've got your win condition. And now they got to deal with all your nonsense, you know? So he's that kind of character. He's devious, but he's always been that, you know? He's kind of, he's had that in different ways. Like in 5, he had that short range Psycho Blast, which I really like that move. I'm kind of sad he doesn't have it, but that's okay. He's back to form. He's back to old Bison in that regard, and he's still really, really strong. I think that more or less is kind of like a general coverage of his special moves. Let's go over his supers real quick, and then we'll talk about stuff you can do on Wake Up and Knockdown in terms of kind of like Oki stuff. Let's see here. And for those of you who are not familiar with the term Oki, Oki is short for a Japanese word called Okezime. Okezime is basically translates into wake up. And in this case, it's like, what can you do to threaten your opponent as they're getting up off the ground? So we're going to turn block off. We're going to take a quick look at his special moves or super moves. It's level 3, real quick. Sick. Bogus. That reminds me of his Street Fighter 4 Super, which or Ultra, which was so sick. So sick. All right, let's see the big boy version of that. Let's see the critical art. Oh, that's so sick. Good God. That was one hit. That's going to scale like a mother. I mean, and by scale like a mother, I mean it's going to be great for him, bad for whoever's catching that hit. Especially if it's like 1-2 super. Good God. Yeah. Cool. All right. Let's see here. The thing is level 2 is quarter circle back punches. It is not. Let's try quarter circle back kicks. There it is. I didn't know it could side switch. Perfect. It can cross up. That is from Street Fighter 4 as well. That was like his Ultra 2. You could steer it in that game. I want to see if you can steer it here. I'm going to hold back. You can steer it. Let's go. All right. But can you go full screen? Pretty much. Get wrecked. So if they're like a Duke and a Duke and a Duke's a Duke, and get fucked, boy. Yeah, I love it. I loved it then. I love it even more now because it actually does damage. Very cool stuff. All right, and it's level 1, of course. Nice. 666. All right, so let's take a look at. I saw red and white striped lines on the bar with the level 1. Red and white stripes mean strike throw invincibility. So you use knee press nightmare, like most level 1s, I think, to blow through attacks that are not projectiles and or throws. So if, you know, you got a Zangief walking you down, looking, and you know you looking like a snack. You know, the snack that smiles back. There you go. Level 2 is, okay, it's just, that's completely invulnerable for like 25 frames. So it doesn't matter what they're doing. They're going for the ride. As long as you don't miss, which will probably be tricky to do. Because it feels like he will generally always land around where you are. I'm just going to do it and let's see where he lands. All right. All right, so where he's full screen. Wow, also he throws you full screen. Super important. So I'm going to do it from here, and I just want to see where he lands naturally. Okay, so mid-screen. All right, so that's the stomp is like literally right next to that big bold line there. Hold back and see where it goes. It pulls back a little bit. So if you want to be a tricky bastard, you can be a tricky bastard. But you can also go full screen. And I think if you're mid-screen, you'll go over their head. So you can do some nasty cross-up nonsense. Maybe a little gimmicky. Maybe don't do that unless you're calling out something that you've practiced calling out in training mode. You know. Like that. I held forward to do that. That's cute. I don't know how effective ultimately that will be. I think it'll depend on your opponent and what they're doing, but food for thought, you know. Let's see. And then I'm pretty sure level 3 will do that again. 9 frames of total invincibility. So, yeah. Whatever they're doing, they ain't doing it no more. Very cool. All right. So, that's his supers. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Now, what I like to do once I've kind of gone over all this stuff is I like to start looking for knockdown tech or Okizeme stuff so that I can keep pressure going as I'm trying to figure the combos out or figure the character out against actual opponents. Normally I start with stuff like, what do I get off of his throws? So let's start there. Okay, I am 21 frames of advantage off of forward throw. All right. 21 frames. Now, Bison's dash is 19 frames. So I know, if nothing else, if I get a forward throw and he just regular stands up, I can dash up and be +2. As long as you time the dash right, that's the tricky part. Back throw rather, 18 frames. There's not a whole lot I can do off of that that's going to be safe. Like I can't dash up. I'll be -1 at that point, which is not good. You don't want to necessarily be, even if you're in their face, that's great and all, but now they have the advantage technically. Depending upon what your opponent does, they can make that a bad time for you. But that's okay because you're Bison and you can approach another way. You know, there's any number of things you can do to kind of like, you know, make their life awful. Just don't dash up. Or if you're going to dash up, just know that you don't push a button. You're -1. It's not your turn. You're safe though. So you can, if you just need to close the gap, like if they're in the corner or something like that, let's say something like this happens. They're here. You want to dash up. Obviously, make sure you time your dash up correct. Stuff like that. See? -1. Right? Not the worst thing in the world. You can reach them, but they can reach you too. And you're -1. So anything they do is going to be 1 frame faster. Just keep that in mind when you're making those sorts of decisions. Off a forward throw, though, you're +2. That's a little better situation. So it's going to shave 2 frames off of anything you would do. Personally, in a situation like that, I'd be putting out medium punch because this is a 6 or crouch medium punch specifically because it turns this 6-frame button into a 4-frame button. So let's see what happens if we set Ryu to wake up jab. Reversal settings. Wake up. Common actions. Normals. Light punch. There we go. So we're going to throw him. Dash up. Medium punch. Oh, did he do it? I don't. Oh, it's not on. There we go. Let's try this again. Forward throw. Dash up. All right, so that's a trade. We don't necessarily want that. At least it's a favorable trade. So maybe not medium punch. Like in Street Fighter V, you'd have won that exchange because there was strength priority. So medium attacks would always beat light attacks, heavy attacks, and so on and so forth. Here they just trade if they're the same speed and they hit on the same frames. So what you want to do then is light attacks. So it can make his 4 or 5 frame moves basically uncontestable. So we do the same thing. Dash up, jab. Counter hit. Sucks for him. So you can dash up and you can threaten with that, which is scary enough on its own. But if they get wise to that and they start to block, dash up. Now you can set up situations where you might be able to get a dash up throw. But not off a back though, because we already established. But you see what happened when I dashed up. You can block. Just don't push no buttons. Don't attack. Unless you're doing something invincible, which for him seems kind of expensive. He's got throw loops mid-screen, y'all. Because throws are what, 5 frames? So his throw starts up and is active as Ryu's throwing his jab. So he gets throw loops as long as you dash properly mid-screen. It's hard to time, but it's possible. But that's something you just, you go in and you drill until you get it. There you go. But yeah, and then the same thing works in the corner. Again, hard to time, but possible. The most important, the thing is, it's possible. You want to make sure that you understand this is possible. So that kind of removes all doubt. You know, if that's what you were attempting to do, and it didn't come out, you know, all right, there's a little user error. You can drill that. Those are problems that are pretty easily fixed by doing exactly what we're doing here. Set up the situation, practice your timing until you get it perfect. You know. All right, so that's throws, basic throws. So throws generate the knockdown, which gives you the frame advantage. So what else does he have that knocks you down? Well, he's got a couple sweeps now. So let's test those. Let's check out his new sweep, his white girl sweep. Bam. What do you got for that? 42 frames. All right, so we're gonna turn reuse jab off here so we can play with some numbers. So yeah, 42. Oh wait. 29 frames. Oh, I see. It was the number was off of the jab. Okay, anyway, still 29 frames. So if I dash up perfectly, I got 10 frames to do whatever I want. Well, let's see what Bison has is 10 frames. That's 19. That's a little slow. And even if you shave 10 frames off of it, it's still 9 frames. Good people will learn to throw faster buttons, like a 6-frame button would stuff that. You don't want that. Let's go with something a little faster. Let's see here. Sorry, trying to sort my music out. All right, so we were doing white girl sweep, and we want something. Wait a minute, that's not right. There we go. That's more accurate. And notice, like you can see if you're getting. You can do the math. You know, if you've got 29 frames of advantage, you are recovering 29 frames before Ryu. So if you act on the very first frame and your dash is 19 frames, you can just subtract 19 from the 29. And you know that you can potentially be up to 10 frames of advantage and in their face point blank range after the dash, right? And then so you can practice getting it perfectly. And if the numbers aren't looking right, that's not an anomaly. That means you just dashed a little bit later. Oh, that's cool. I've never seen that animation. Yo, I love that they give them the blue and the purple fire. How old school. All right, so let's keep trying this here. 7 frames. Let's see if we can get 10. Let's not jump. 6, a little slower. 10 frames. There we go. So you can dash a little sooner than it feels like you should be able to dash. But again, that's just part of the reasons you sit in training mode and drill that stuff. Because you want those situations to be crispy whenever you do them, because that's how you set up your offense. Because if you're not, if you're doing something to where like you're trying to set up a move that's like, oh, I'm trying to do this move, this is 10 frames. Well, right, but it's less effective if your frame advantage isn't where you wanted it to be because you didn't dash in time, So rather than trying to account for all that by practicing getting it perfect. Practice the timing. And so, a slight aside, that's one of the reasons I like playing on arcade stick, because I can hear it. It's like music. I can hear the rhythm of like the clicks and clacks and all that stuff. It's a little harder to pick up on if you're playing on pad. Pad is technically faster though. So, like, do not feel dismayed if, it's harder. It's whatever. You can do this on any input. This is not some big crazy wazy nonsense that, requires super technical inputs to do. This is basic timing, But once you got it, and you practice it enough, you got it, and you won't have to worry about that. Your setups will simply work. So, we're working with 10 frames of advantage. That means I can do this. That's 10 frames. I can do that. That's 10 frames. What else I got? And you don't have to do moves that are 10 frames. You don't necessarily want to do moves that are faster than that because your move will whiff. Check this out. 8 frames. He was still getting up. He's not even able to be hit yet, right? So keep that in mind when you're setting this sort of stuff up. You want to try to do moves that are either A, right on the money frame wise. Like if your character has them, like he's got this is 10 frames. That's 10 frames. But also he has a couple moves that are slightly slower, like this. 13 frames ain't bad because, oh, let's see, on block, I think he's still safe. Let's set him to block real quick just to confirm. Oh, there we go. Damn. Okay, yeah, he's safe. So check this out. Because also, here's why you will want to maybe frame trap with this move off of that particular circumstance, right? You're safe if you tag them, or you're safe if they block it. Cool, no problem. You can throw it out, and if it doesn't hit, you're good. But if it hits, that move is +6. Ooh. Last I checked, Bison's got another move that's 6 frames fast. That guy. That's a natural combo. This is not a counter hit thing. You get even better combos if you do counter hit. You could probably do in fact, here, let's check it out. We'll set to always counter. Bam. Bam. That might not reach. But he's +8. So what does he have? This +8. That hits. So you can do, for instance, something like that. You're still at advantage. Bison's going to be one of those characters where, like, your win conditions are going to be things that leave your opponents in really nebulous situations that are slightly advantageous for you. And you are just really good at continuing to... It's like setting up your own counter hits off of moves that you landed, if that makes any sort of sense. Like being +3 or +4 in these situations where your opponent's still standing and you're right next to him gives you opportunities to throw mix up, which, as you know, you can dash up off that and still be in their face in +2. Yet another situation that is slightly in your advantage. You know, so you have to kind of be really good at playing between the lines here. His opportunities are not going to necessarily be as overt as a character like Akuma or some other characters. He's very insidious, you know. But that's what makes him so dangerous. It feels like you can't do anything. And then when you stop trying, then he just chews you up for real, you know, by doing all kinds of just egregious nonsense, like using his real stupid plus frame buttons, you know. But yeah, kind of, I digress ever so slightly. This move is +6, even without any sort of counter hit. So it's +6. Let's see if I can get this. Bam. Easy. A little bit of timing, but that punch is cancelable. Case in point. 1, 2. I gotta time it right. 1, 2. Also, I'm very bad at. I will probably not play this character mainly because, like, the way I do my inputs, I be getting whiffed jump shadow rise all the time. That move when I want scissors. It's kind of all or nothing for me. I play Guile before I play him. Cool though he is. But yeah, for instance. So let's try. Okay, let's set up a win condition here. So let's see. I think medium punch goes a little further. It does. Perfect. That's what you want to do. If you land this setup, so the setup is what? Off of sweep, we're going to dash up. Something like that, right? Now, it's not guaranteed to hit, mainly because that move is 13 frames, but it is a frame trap. So if you know your opponent likes to push buttons there, that is an option that you can use. But if you want to keep it tight, you want to keep it clean, use this back heavy kick, because it is also plus on block and it is also cancelable. So you still get the same sort of circumstance. And I think off of that, you get heavy punch back fist combo. So I would say starting out, keep it clean, do that instead. That's your guy. So sweep, dash up, back that, and notice it looks like that forces stand too. Let me see if it does. It does. That forces stand. So I don't think Bison really has anything that whips on crouching, but even if he did, that doesn't matter. He stands you up. Another important thing to note when you're trying new stuff with a new character. So, a kind of baby's first sequence like that would be, oh, you've landed your sweep. Dash up, that, bam, bam. Party started. right? Win condition there. So now it's super scary, and because you can combo any number of ways off of that circumstance, and they're going to block because they don't want to get hit by that. They don't want to get popped up in the air, so they're going to sit still. They're going to block, or they're going to do something incredibly risky. All wonderful things for Bison. Please jump at him. Please dash up willy-nilly. Please throw out EX meter trying to, do some wild stuff. Please dash up and try to throw me because you're trying to like use the iframes from the animation to blow past the thing. Yeah, sure. Your opponent just becomes more predictable, right? They're going to do risky stuff, which is you want. Bison wants them to do risky stuff. He just pounds them in the face, and then the thing explodes anyway, and then he gets even more damage in a combo. That's kind of the idea, right? Yeah. Cool. Very cool. All right. Moving on. So we did White Girl Sweep. You get 10 frames of advantage. We talked about a couple things you can do off of that. And you should be doing this with every character like that comes out. Ideally, you want to do it with the cast so you kind of have an idea of what people can do against you for sure. But definitely do it with any character you're going to play. Figure out some set play. This is set play. You hit them with a situation. You're turning a basic knockdown instead of a guess on your part. You're turning this into a guaranteed situation where they have to guess. Because you don't have to push it. You don't have to push the attack. You can do that, dash up, do that, and then throw. Or you can just do it, dash up, wait, throw. Dash up, throw. Right? And that's the schmix. Baby's first mix-up, right? So you want to find as many of these little micro situations as you can. Anytime your character can score a knockdown, you want to see if there's anything further you can do to make your opponent's life miserable. So, and you can, like the frame meter down there makes that ever so easy. Now, the situations will differ from character to character. Some characters get way more than others. Like Zangief doesn't get them like this because this stuff puts him full screen off of his most damaging moves by design. Because otherwise, having set play off of like SPD would be gross in this game because it does so much damage. All right, so that was White Girl Sweep. What does he get off of this? He's 31 frames. Let's point blank range. 25 frames. So further out. So the further out you hit with this, the more advantage you have. But it looks like 31 frames. 33, all right. Can we do any higher? Can we do any better? 34. All right, so you're looking at anywhere between like, was it 25 and 34 frames. So like you got about 9 frames of difference there. That's a little bit trickier to set up because the number changes depending upon where you hit that. But if nothing else, you can sweep them, dash up, eat up 19 of those frames, and you're still at advantage. So what you probably want to do here is find a move that kind of falls somewhere in the middle, like this. 4 frame advantage. In fact, let's see. Off of point blank range, you are what? 4 frames of advantage. Okay, so that's kind of like, I would kind of try to normalize the situation, think of it like that. All right, if I do this and I dash perfectly, I can get about 4 frames of advantage. You want to do something that's like faster than 8 frames, because remember, if you do a move, it turns this 8 frame move into a 4 frame move. If they do a jab at the same time as you doing this, you're going to trade, which ain't necessarily awful. You win the trade, but it kind of everything goes back to neutral. You lose your advantage. So instead, maybe think of doing something like crouch medium punch, which makes that uncontestable now. 4 frames off, shaved off of that 6 frame button, makes it a 2 frame button. They can't do anything except, EXDP or something like that. So dash up, do that. All right, that ain't bad. That ain't bad, because you can combo off of that. You can most important thing, you can start your party. You can do any number of things, but the most important thing is off of that button, you get that. And if for whatever reason you don't want to do that, or let's say you already have done that, and they're already like being hit, maybe you just want to do that and be in their face, and with +3 off of that. So you got options, but there's definitely like what you want to set up your win condition. Setting up your win condition is the most important thing because you want to keep the ball rolling. You want to keep your opponent locked down and scared to do stuff so you can continue to oppress them. which is all Bison does. That's it, baby. All right, so let's see. From further out, 31 frames. Let's see here. Yeah, that's the case. That was too slow. Yeah, I wouldn't worry so much about trying to set up stuff off of this move. Maybe just dash up, take some space, and then keep it simple. Do something like that. Because that way, if it whiffs, it's like, all right. You know, if they get up and you whiff the move, it's not the end of the world necessarily. And you can still get stuff off of it. You can get tricksy as you learn to get better at spacing that move. But I wouldn't worry about it right now. This, guaranteed 29 frames of wake up. Now, what we haven't done yet is we haven't talked about the different kinds of ways to wake up. You can recover in place, you can back rise. You want to try to look for scenarios where you can cover both of those options, whether they wake up straight or whether they wake up backwards. This option that you do covers both of their wake ups because the timing doesn't change, just the positioning. So let's see what happens. All right, let's try white girl sweep again. We're gonna white girl sweep. All right, you got up. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. That's a hard knockdown. Okay. That's fucking gross. I didn't realize that. So it doesn't even matter. Moves that are hard knockdowns, they're going to get up just how Ryu is. They're going to get straight up. You can't back rise. This you can back rise. Yet another reason why you may not want to try to set up stuff off of that particular move because there's too many variables to try to have to worry about. This move is good for closing distance and getting a knockdown and doing something. You're in their face and now you're kind of in there. You're in the zone of influence here. Bison can't really do a whole lot from back here except try to do something risky to get in, like slide or devil's reverse or head stomp or something like that. He has to take a risk to get in. But when you're here, this is Bison land, baby. So, yeah, so maybe like me personally, I would kind of turn this move off just getting started with this character. Eventually you want to come up with some nastiness. But for now, I will be trying to use this button to set up all my bullshit because it's a hard knockdown. It's guaranteed hard science. They're going to wake up in 29 frames and I can dash up and I am plus 10. I can do guaranteed setups that I then can cycle through and keep my opponent guessing. I know which one I'm going to choose the moment I do that sweep. I'm a dash up throw. Or this time I'm gonna knock him down on a dash up, do this. And ideally, you want to have looping offense. You want to have things where it's like, all right, I can knock him down, dash up, and do a thing off of here. And off of this, I've got another thing I do that leads back into another knockdown, and so on and so forth. You know, that's a little tricky to do for free in this game, but characters certainly can. You know, and that can kind of inform how you're scoring your damage. Like suddenly a sweep is not just a sweep with him. The sweep now becomes curtains, calamity, if you will, for your opponent. You know. All right, so we touched on sweep. That's a great one. Definitely use this move. That's a hard knockdown. That's real good to have for free. Holy crap. That's good too. And then, you know, forward throw. You dash up and be plus 2. But you see, he back rows, and now the spacing is still kind of good for me. It's not great. It kind of changes what I do. Like they can do stuff. He can defend himself. They can parry. They can DI if I get too antsy and do something crazy. But you can be in that space and do nothing. Let them do something risky. If they jump, bow. If they don't, bow. If they're really scared, dash, throw. Walk up, walk back out. You know, he's a little hard to shimmy with, but you know, walk up, back dash. Because he doesn't go very far. And I don't know if throw ranges are normalized in this game, but his throw range seems pretty good. So food for thought. These are all kind of things you want to just think about as you're coming in the lab and putting stuff together. He's got some nasty business here. And I mean, we're really just scratching the surface because we haven't touched on all the things that knock people down. So we've done both of his sweeps. We've talked about both of his forward and backward throws. What else does he have that knocks down? This does not knock down, but that's okay because if it hits plus 2 off the light, at least plus 3 off the medium point blank, he's plus 3 off the heavy. Now from further out, same. 3. I think that might be the same no matter what. I think you're being hit, the numbers are the same. Unless it's a counter hit, in which case account for the extra frame advantage you get off of it being a counter hit. That's advanced stuff. We're not worried about that. That's for like when you've been playing Bison for a minute. For now, we're just trying to, you know, we're trying to get the party started here. So if you hit with these, just know it's your turn. And again, you can probably, I would stick to putting out light attacks, trying to catch people pushing buttons in between because they don't want you to keep doing this, but you can check them. And when they get hit to that, because if he tries to throw or something there, let's see here. We're going to set him to reversal after damage. We'll set him to throw. In fact, here, we'll turn on 2 options. We'll turn on light punch, and we'll also turn on, let's see, throw. Normal throw, there we go. So we'll turn both of these on, so it'll just kind of choose them at random. And what we're going to do is we're going to do light kick scissors. So he takes damage and he does one of those 2 options. I'm just going to press, I'm going to press this, stand light kick, because it's 4 frames. So basically, I think any of these would do, because if I'm +2, it will take 2 frames off of the 5 frame button, making it a 3 frame button. Nothing that fast. If you want to make extra sure, is that cancelable? That button's even cancelable. Yeah, I'll probably choose this because it looks like it might go a little bit further. Let's see if we can confirm. Oh no, that's pretty far. That's pretty far too, though. Looks like jab might go a little bit further. Ooh, okay. So either or, this will give you another frame of kind of like wiggle room to work with. This might be the most optimal button to use, honestly, though. But at any rate, let's see. Bam. Counter hit. Bam. Oh, he threw me. Didn't press it in time. Bam. Counter hit. Bam. 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 Yeah, see? Like the second hit doesn't matter. Like that first hit after the scissors, if you catch your opponent, if you notice that they start trying to like squeeze shit in between there, unless it's an EX move, and then just block and like make them feel it afterwards. Or every once in a while, just stick a jab or something now, just to kind of keep them honest. And then you can, you know, if once they stop, because normally when you check people like that, they won't push anything because they don't want to keep getting hit. So you walk up throw. Or you can, at that point, you do something like that, right? So let's see here. Frame traps, baby. So it looks like off of his, at least off a stand jab for sure. Let's see if crouch jab works. Oops. Standing and crouching jab both lead to a medium punch frame trap, which leads back into what? Bison's win condition. So if you land scissors and you have an opponent who's handsy, you can make their life really fucking awful. You do that enough times, they're gonna stop being handsy, which is great. Now you just chuck them until they start pushing more shit. Then you lather, rinse, repeat. So, food for thought. Cool, cool, cool stuff. All right. And off of moves that don't knock down, it's like, well, you know, I know sometimes that can be kind of confusing to work through. But you want at least an option or two. It doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all. But when you hit that thing, you want to be able to take advantage. And you take every couple frames you can get. Anytime you can be +2 at least off of something, that's an opportunity to make your opponent's life real nasty. So, we'll turn these off for now. Let's see what else Bison has that knocks down. Does Devil Reverse knock down? It does. And if I recall correctly, he's hella plus. So let's see here. Let's do this. All right, maybe a little further out. And he's +42, I think I saw. +38. That's good. Okay, so maybe don't double dash up. But now, we're kind of... I was looking for a way to work this button in. This is 19 frames, right? And it steps them really far forward. So this might be a situation... There's probably others I haven't explored yet. But anytime you got that much frame advantage, let's see how much... If I do this, dash up, 10 frames advantage. Yeah, you don't want to dash up and do that. But There's probably a way you could sneak that in there. Let's see. Something like that. That's a little trickier to time. That's you got to kind of wing that one. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. You know, some of the stuff is not going to be super concrete and easy to like just 1, 2, 3. Some of it requires you to kind of like be a little bit kind of loosey-goosey with your spacing and your timing. But if nothing else, you want to make sure that like you're in a range, or you want to be at the range where you can threaten with scissors, which is like pretty much here, anywhere to here, like here. You want to be able to just like hit with just the edge. Like right about there. So like right about here. Because Bison can like, he can tag limbs. If they're sticking limbs out, this button can like crack stuff. You know, Ryu sticking out medium kick. You can tag them sticking normals out trying to get at you. This button is also great for that. You know, if they're not watching their feet or they're just walking around kind of aimlessly. Swoop. Swoop in, get that spacing, and now they're in the shit. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, Stomp. Stomp does not normally knock down, but I think Hell Attack does. Hell Attack does not knock down, but you are +9 in their face. That's your man. Is that consistent? Pretty consistent. Oh, and you can whiff it too. You can do it late. Okay, so you can, like, if you do it later, you can get even more frame advantage. But again, bam. In fact, that might not be a bad option to push regardless, because they're probably going to want to do something afterwards. And you're +1, so you just you take a chance. You chew up some of their drive gauge if they block it, and you're still +1, which means you get a free light attack. You know, a lot of what makes Bison is making your opponent afraid of what you can do, not necessarily what you are doing. But you got to kind of exhibit a bit of mastery over all this stuff in order to make that kind of, you know, a thing that's worthwhile. And that's going to take time, but this is how you kind of figure things out to kind of get your opponent worried. So, Hell Attack does not knock down, but I noticed, I think I mentioned, you can kind of do it late, so he starts it up, lands, and you can kind of use it like Akuma's feint off of Demon Flip, right? It's not quite the same. I think there might be a little bit of lag there, but most people are going to be expecting the attack, especially since you can, like, they're going to, like, try to figure out what you're going to be doing afterwards, so. And then you can just choose not to do it sometimes. 1 second here. All right. Play that funky music. All right. But yeah, so there's that. OD Stomp, I think, does knock down. What are we at? We're at 27 frames of advantage. So if I dash up, I'm like +6 here, best case scenario. Is that a hard knockdown, though? Can they back roll? No, it's a hard knockdown. So I'm guaranteed to be able to be right here. And if you do the math again, if you dash perfectly, 19 frames, you're like +6, which is great, because that hits. So, let's see if I can time this. Okay, all right. So this is why you do the science. Because clearly the spacing wasn't quite what I thought it was, and that's okay. I might have moved him slightly or something. But yeah, let's try it again. Never try anything once and assume that's what it is, because, you know, it's not how science is done. All right, so that might be a bit far, but that'll reach. Let's see. Boom. Boom. All right, and that's good, because if you notice your opponent likes to walk, boop, clip them in the toes. Because that's cancelable too, baby. Bam, bam. All roads lead to that. You want that move as often as possible. Now, that's a whole nother area of exploration required to kind of break down all that stuff. But just know that it makes all of your moves better. Like, anything you want to throw at it, it will improve. It gives you some sort of extra damage, or it makes a move that was not safe. Big deal. Big deal. But like I said, we're going over basics right now. Stuff people kind of tend to gloss over sometimes when they're looking for ways to get the party started. Yeah, those are just a few things I would start to look out for. Again, like start with the simple low-hanging fruit. Start with your knockdowns. Start with your sweeps. Start with your throws. What do you get off of those? You know, how fast is your dash? If you dash up, do you get anything? If not, is it worth it? Are you at least safe? If you're not safe, don't do that. Just turn that option off. If you're at least safe, you can dash up and take the space. You know, maybe in situations when you want to be point blank range, you can be. You know, and you don't have to worry about necessarily having to fight your way in. Now you're there. And now you just do what you're going to do. Make sure it's something quick, you know, or invincible. One of the two. Oh, yeah, this knocks down. What's the frame advantage on this? 31 frames? Not bad. But he pushes you pretty far. Yeah, you're like going full screen. You might not necessarily want to like dash up off of that. You can drive rush. Let's see. So there's that. You can spin meter and be in their face again. But again, you want to try to work through what you can do without having to spend your drive meter because you want to use it for different stuff. But just know that you can. You can always generally spend a little bit of cash and be where you want to be. So, all right. I mean, I'll be definitely seeing a lot of this character, I'm sure. I don't know if I'll play him, but, you know, this works kind of both ways, right? So taking the time to kind of figure out what this character can do now gives me an idea of what smart players are going to be looking for when I hop online. And if I see them not taking advantage of this stuff, then that's information that I can take back and be like, all right, this dude is not hitting me as hard as he could. He's not taking advantage of these situations that I know you can take advantage of. So I'm going to take advantage of him, not taking advantage of those situations, you know. So I try to do this with most characters. There's still a bunch of them I have to do this with because, you know, my friends don't play everybody. But if nothing else, the process that I used here is more or less the same. So you can definitely steal some of this stuff and reverse engineer it to use against all the rest of the cast. And I think you'll be surprised at what you can find. Not only things that you can find to do with other characters, but to do against them. You learn when they are most dangerous. You learn when they are not dangerous at all and when they might be reaching. And if you can suss out when your opponent's reaching because you've literally done the math, suddenly that invalidates some of the nonsense that people try to get away with, and it makes you a lot scarier to fight because now you're not falling for any of their BS. And your BS is now way scarier. That makes an enormous difference in this game. So I want to call it there, but I really hope that this helped somebody out there kind of go and filter out some of the options to kind of make some of these fights a little less stressful. And to maybe pick up some tips that you can use to kind of strengthen your own character. But yeah. That's pretty much, kind of, how I fish for information and setups and damage and all that stuff. And this is not just a Street Fighter thing. This works in pretty much any fighting game. You just want to look for situations that are kind of like repeatable, hard knockdown situations like that. Moves that are guaranteed knockdowns, situations like that. That's what you want to look for. Start with the low-hanging fruit, and then you can kind of, as you get good at that stuff, then you can kind of begin to workshop the more trickety stuff. Like, what do I get if I land this big honking combo after I do this move? What kind of setups do I get after that? You can, after you like land a Psycho Crush or something, what's your frame advantage then? But again, that's advanced stuff. You don't worry about that right out the gate. Because first of all, you got to learn the combo. You got to learn to do the combo consistently. And then you got to learn to do the setup off that combo consistently. That's a lot. Don't do all that. Start with stuff that you know you're going to hit. You know you're going to land a sweep. So keep it simple and keep it moving. So I hope this helped. And I'm going to call it there. I know I said that already. But anyway, if this helped, By all means, share this to anybody you think is kind of, struggling and this might, give them a little bit of benefit. And yeah, hit the like and subscribe buttons if you want to see more. So thanks so much for showing up, all y'all who popped in. I appreciate you. And I'll catch you in the next one. All right. Deuces. Be good out there, y'all.